Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this week's special edition of NuPath Live. And in honor of Thanksgiving, that is just one short week from today, we are going to be dedicating at least the second half of this or most of this event to considering the things that we have to be grateful for. But more on that in a minute. I'm going to quickly run through a few statistics that I think everyone needs to hear, even if it's hard to hear them. Um, we know we're in a surge, and I'm telling you guys this because it's connected to everything else that we're doing right now. 1 month ago, on October 16th, there were 69,000 cases, new cases of COVID diagnosed within the United States. This is 1 month ago. And on November 13th, which was this past Friday, there was an all-time record of 184,000 new cases. It's just a huge, huge increase. Just yesterday, it was 172,000. We have now over 10,000 dead in Massachusetts. We're seeing an increase in the region of Middlesex County and parts of Essex that we have services in, and you know we passed the 250,000 mark for souls lost to this virus just very recently. And those are 250,000 people that are not going to be at Thanksgiving tables next week around the country. 1.34 million dead worldwide. So good news came in some news of the a couple of vaccines that sound very promising, very effective. We're going to be following that closely, but we're not going to talk about that anymore because we don't have any more details except that it's looking promising. Um, Big thing that people have on their minds now, and this is to speaking to the families that are watching, and our staff too, frankly, is what's going to be happening. Are people going to be taking their loved ones home? What is that going to mean? And Dan Lannan talked a little bit about this last week, and he is working with various programs and with various family requests. We're trying to accommodate people as much as we possibly can with the number one and most fundamental concern that we have of trying to keep COVID out of our programs. So far, we've had, and I don't want to jinx it because I know Sharon Pitts hates it, but so far we've been fortunate in seeing that the measures that have been put into place and that our staff are following so religiously have worked, and for the most part, and yet the surveillance testing has worked as well because it has helped us identify three or four, and maybe I don't have the exact numbers, but it's a low amount of staff that were asymptomatic. So that is working well. Here's what we're going to say. Whatever you work out to take your kids home, that's something that I know you'll do with the staff, and you'll do it in a contemplative and thoughtful and respectful a manner. I'm sure you will to our families. But when people get back, we are going to test everybody, all of our staff and our clients in our programs, 2 weeks or so after Thanksgiving, so that if anybody was exposed, they would have the opportunity to become aware of that. So that's why you gotta wear your masks, and why you gotta think very, very carefully about how you're going. And I feel like I'm preaching. No more of that. Let's get on to the fun stuff. So we are going to introduce our broader constituency today to a practice really that we've been at NuPath honoring at this time of year each year in November. We call it our attitude of gratitude, and it's a time when we would encourage our staff to come and make live presentations, very short and brief. We'll talk a little bit more about the sort of etiology of that, or how that came to be, but always the concept of recognizing things that we have to be grateful for was so critical. Because we felt that we grew from it, and that it honored our core values, the cubics principles of community, unity, belonging, collaboration, innovation. Did I say that in order? I did. Sharing, and we're going to do that today, as we have asked and are going to be featuring, I think, 9 or 10 very short videos of people expressing their gratitude in our midst. So, but first we'll roll into this one.
Hi everyone, Ted Horn here, and I'm thrilled to express a dose of gratitude. Let's be honest, the COVID pandemic and associated staying at home hasn't been easy on anyone. Here at NuPath, we're lucky to have a team that has stepped up and stepped in the hardest of times. Today, I'm lucky to express gratitude to just one shining example, Ken Sinibaldi. If you haven't seen Ken lately, you can catch him every morning at 9 a.m. hosting our No Walls group. Ken brings his usual smile, his usual energy, and a great deal of information to get people virtually out of their home and into the community, giving some semblance of normalcy, some break from what we face every day with this horrible pandemic. Again, Ken is just one example of too many to name, but Ken definitely deserves a spotlight today. As I said, Ken comes prepared. The night before, he's preparing his next day's trip. Up early in the morning, putting finishing touches. It's that dedication and hard work, that extra, that turns ordinary truly into extraordinary. Ken's dedication was exemplified back on July 4th. We celebrated the holiday on July 3rd. Everybody was looking forward to a break. Everybody was looking forward to a day off. But we realized this wasn't a normal July 4th. Traditions of the past, trips from the past, weren't available. And for some of the people that we support, those traditions may be missed. And the only tradition may be the daily work, the daily programming that we offer. Ken was the first to step up. Ken said, I'll be there at 9 a.m., just like every other day. He gave his time to others. In fact, later in the afternoon, as he thought and reflected upon his programming, he actually thanked his supervisors for the idea. That's just Ken. The reality is, Ken, this is a long overdue thank you on behalf of those you support, those you take out in the community virtually every day, and all of us here at NuPath. Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for Ted Horn. Woo! Hey, if anybody doesn't know Ted, hey Ted, good to see you.
Hi, thanks for having me.
I had to say that, just because it's a nicety, it's what you do when you see.
Let's get down to business.
Let's get down to business because we've got a lot to get through today, and I've asked you to be my co-host because you and I go way back. Also, you worked for NuPath much longer than I have, 21 years. But going back and planning and how this sort of all came to be, give us the quick dinosaur, sort of version of how the attitude of gratitude sort of came around about 10 years ago.
Sure. We about 10 years ago, as you mentioned, we were working on our committee that at the time it was a smaller group of us. The group has grown over the years, but every month we were working hard to bring something meaningful to the management meeting, and we came upon November. And it just struck us, around the Thanksgiving holiday, as we start to think about wrapping up the year. We had a pretty good schedule that we would start January with looking forward. Mm-hmm. But we chose November to look back and really to make sure, as we tidied up the year, that those little things didn't go unnoticed. And, it served as a really good rhythm because it serves to not only, allow us to reflect upon the year, but also for that community that comes together each month, the management team that comes together, it fed us all, with inspiration and positivity, right, as we went into a very busy time of the year. Mm-hmm. it just felt right because we all know it feels good to be thanked. But from this management team's perspective, Dan, you talked to us a lot about, what's valued needs to be cultivated. And we want to make sure that we're leadership that recognizes, leadership that notices the little things. And we want to make it a habit to recognize and give gratitude where gratitude is deserved. So that's really where it started and what the motivation of it was.
Ted, the other thing I think it does, and I saw this as the years went on, people in July or March or any other time during the year, they'd be like, I think I might have my gratitude presentation, because in the early days it was mandatory. Remember, we made every single person, and it took some doing getting people up in front of a big crowd of people to do this, and we were very strict about how long they could be. Well, what do you say we take a look at a couple and come back and we can critique them together and take a look at what some of our people have submitted for us to enjoy today and to share with the bigger world? Because focusing on gratitude in spite of how difficult things have been and all that we've lost, focusing on gratitude is still a fundamental thing that can yield great attitudinal change. So let's take a look. Let's do it.
The nursing and clinical teams are thankful for our frontline employees working in our homes and in our programs. We put high expectations on all of you, and you routinely meet those expectations.
Without you, we would not be successful and would not reach our goals. Throughout this pandemic, you have been here through challenging situations and emergency appointments.
Whether helping someone in crisis or helping someone that tested positive or helping someone get blood work or important medical care, you have been there with us. Thank you for your outstanding performance and being there every day.
We also want to thank NuPath for making sure that we have the protective equipment and procedures in place to maintain health and safety for us all. We got this.
Attitude of gratitude. Very thankful to NuPath that we have a job and we work in residential. I'm very grateful for the parents here at Heritage which have been able to help us to also sustain their children. And I'm grateful for my teammate that we can all work together. Everybody, family is great. And we tell God thank you.
Do you have any idea how hard it is to do something in such a short snippet? Of course you do, Ted, because we
I do, because I broke the rule. I couldn't do it. I
for
want to see them praised for doing it.
Yeah, everybody else's was a minute. For some reason, yours had to be 2. No, but I mean, it takes some doing, to get it in that. What I love about those two, it shows Matt and Sharon, who are just long time, servants and veterans of this organization, just sitting there and acknowledging, the teams that help them do their jobs. That it's acknowledging, celebrating the team is huge. And you've got that gamut, and then you've got Viola, who's just on a fundamental level, just so happy she's got a job during this tough time. Some people do not have jobs. Some people have lost their jobs. Some members of our family that have been furloughed or laid off. And so this is a hard time, but I love those two. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, particularly, seeing Matt and Sharon's, it's, I think, the process that they went through was as much for them as those they were expressing gratitude to, because, since March 13th, you've shared with the larger audience that Bedford has served as a bit of an outpost, right? A response outpost. And I've never spent more time with Sharon and Matt and a number of other people over here. And, we've shared 4-letter words, we've shared stress, we've shared, successes. And, I think they embody what a lot of people, have been through with the stresses. And what they did for us with that is what I've shared with a number of people. This year has been particularly challenging. You mentioned these have been hard times. And, not just one person, many people came to me because, as you mentioned, before we made people do this, it was a requirement. So people approached me and said, do I need to do this year? Can I get a pass? And I asked why, and they said, I can't find anything to be thankful for.
Yeah.
And it struck me. And, we had a conversation last week. Should we go forward with this? Is it the right time? But thinking about it, it reaffirmed more so than ever this is needed.
Yeah.
And it's not the end product, it's the process.
And by the way, we're NuPath, which means that when there's a challenge, what do we say? We're going to go bigger.
Yeah.
Not only are we going to do it, but we're going to share it with a big extended group of people. Right on. That's our way. Okay, can we roll on to the next one? We've got a couple of. Oh, and by the way, Viola, Viola, you thought you got away without having to hear this, but former prestigious Peacock award winner of the NuPath leadership team. This is the most prestigious award given each year. It's a peer voted award for somebody that's brought something special to our group, and she is one. And I believe the next video that we're going to see from is another prestigious Peacock Award winner from this very elite club from a different year. So let's take a look.
Hi, even with everything changing, I'm still grateful to have a job and to be at NuPath and to enjoy the company of all of us who are still here. Thanks, bye.
Hi everyone, Mike Edwards. Passport Studios, 147 New Boston Street. What am I grateful for? It's been a tough year to be grateful about anything, but I look back and just talk about my staff. My team's lost 3 mothers, a father. One of us has been in the hospital, Heather, what do you think, 6 times? 6 times. 6 times over the last year. We've had to let go a lot of our friends that we were loved to work with, and it's been a stinky year. But after all that, we still come together every morning. We're lucky that we have about 60 clients back that are doing awesome, and I'm just so excited that I have a staff that I can depend on. Been in previous management positions where it's been a little dicey, but I gotta say right now, I got one of the best staff that I can ask for. All right, over and out. Thank you. Talk to you all soon.
I love what Mike Edwards, again, another example of talking about teams, honoring teams. This is something that I think is something that just happens. It's an acknowledgement. You think about that our core values of unity, of collaboration, of sharing, how so many of these core values are embodied and exemplified in the ways we do things. And even something like this, this exercise of recognizing, what you're grateful for, sort of embodies those ideas. I love hearing about the teams. Of course, Joe's we see why we got the prestigious Peacock. Love him. He can be zany and interesting. So
And masked up.
And masked up.
And he's exemplifying masked up. I think Joe, Joe nailed it, when he said, for so many people, and you can interpret this a lot of different ways, but when he said just being thankful for still being here. Mm-hmm. And, that's the NuPath community. That's, the teams that Mike is thanking. That's the members of the program that either come back physically each day or virtually each day, that we're still here together despite what we're facing.
All right. Well, these are the other 2 great ones. Let's move on to our next 2 and see what messages they have in store for us.
Hi everybody, we are here to present our attitude for gratitude in a poetic style. My name is James Lannan, Director of Day Services.
I'm Amy Mondesir, Senior Program Manager.
And I'm Elder Suarez, Director of Stabilization.
Our attitude for gratitude is about 2020, a year to be feared, but not to be compared.
Working in a virtual room, we were grateful to see everybody on Zoom.
Rest in peace, Frankie, Lisa, Donald, Bill, and Sean. Although you're gone, your memories carry on.
No kickball, walk, or MC Thanksgiving. Just be grateful that we're all still living.
No time to plan, our lives rearranged.
Can transportation take me back when things were unchanged?
Thank you, everybody.
Have a good afternoon.
Thank you.
Drop the mic on that one, huh, Ted?
Mhm. I'll tell you, we have some creative people. I mean,
We sure
you
do.
know, creativity and innovation go hand in hand, and you know, I'm blown away to see the different ways people found to express their gratitude in this unconventional delivery format.
The neatest thing about doing something with a group like this is that you don't sometimes have to give too many close parameters. Like we like to say, see what happens. Do maybe time from a time constraint. That can't be any longer than a minute. But I love seeing what people do. I mean, I think Brian's was such a great way again to exemplify, to give thanks to and acknowledge his team and the people that make Westford and the organization what it is. And then the last Amy and Elder and James, though they happen to be three well, maybe I should talk about stuff I should talk about, but that are considering reassignments and whose jobs may be changing. This is something that I've told you we've had to do. We've had to cut out a huge amount from personnel, and people are making a lot of sacrifices, and there are three of them that are going to be affected by this because otherwise they're day service managers and directors, and we don't have that many people in day programs to be able to afford having that layer of staff. We want them when everything gets better. We want them to be able to go right back. We don't want to lose them, but this is what we're facing, isn't it?
Yeah. It's great to see though that even in the face of uncertainty and change, that this process is giving people the opportunity to focus on those things that matter most right now, despite what's coming down the road.
And I love that they acknowledge the people that we've lost by name. That's just the one thing. You just always want to find a way to kind of not forget and remember, because we've had a lot of it. Okay, we got to move on. These are a lot of great ones that we're seeing. Next up, I guess, is Christina Putney.
Hi everyone, my attitude of gratitude is being thankful that during a pandemic I have a job, first off. Secondly, I'm grateful for everyone that pulled together and supported residential when the pandemic hit. I'm grateful for the directors and the nursings. Sharon has done a lot, the team, and thankful that no one residential has passed, and that we're all still good and healthy. And that's it.
Hi everyone, I'm Tracy Olsen. I have been dreading doing this video. I'm not really a public speaker, so I stepped outside because it's a little noisy in the house and it is pouring out, so I am huddled in here in my car. 2020 has been a crazy year for a lot of people, probably the worst year, some people would say, but for me, 2020 has been, I think, maybe one of my best years. I began my journey here with NuPath the end of January at Bradley Road. I became the program manager here, and I came into, a great team. I'm so proud and thankful to be a part of, with staff who have been here for a long time. They know the individuals well. Great families, great individuals. I'm very grateful that I'm a part of this team. I think I fit in pretty good. Things were going great, and then March, COVID hit, and everything went upside down. We were one of the houses, I think the first house to get sick with the individuals and staff, myself included. I was out for about 22 days. in and out of the hospital. I had some complications. I'm so grateful that the individuals that did get sick didn't have a lot of the complications that other people were experiencing. I myself think I was lucky. There were people worse off than me. There were times I didn't know if I was going to get well, but I did, thank God. I'm grateful for that. I'm actually grateful that I got sick, and I know that sounds crazy, but it made me stop and realize a lot of things, that there was things I wanted to do in my life.
Well, I'll tell you what, Ted. I haven't had a chance to get to know Tracy very well yet, but that is one way to set yourself apart by agreeing to do this. Although I hate to tell her, if she's afraid that she calls that's really counts public speaking. Because I mean, yeah, you are talking to a big group of people, but you're not like standing in front of them, you know.
You know, Dan, I when I saw Tracy's, and I'll comment on Christina's in a second, but you know, hearing that timeline, it made me remember, you know, after Father's Day, Doreen popped in. It was later in the afternoon, and I was packing up. I wanted to get home, and Doreen told me a story that she had heard about Tracy, that for Father's Day, she had taken the time to, you know, put together Father's Day gifts for all of her staff.
Wow.
And I said, oh, that's nice. But then halfway home, I stopped my car because I realized she embodied something more than, you know, just the cubics, but also we talk about making a difference. And, you know, I sent her an email halfway home because it was so important to capture, and it struck me so much. But then to hear the timeline, that during that time, she was still recovering, and she could have been focusing, I mean, she should have been focusing on herself, but she took the time to focus on other people, which I'm sure made such a difference for those staff. And it's just, I've gotten to know her a little bit, and that struck me. And this struck me, the humble way that she approaches the leadership. You know, Christina as well. You know, Christina, we've known for a while, and you know, she rightfully so. We've talked a lot about day services and how people are, you know, home and not coming to day services. And residential they've shouldered a big load on this.
Residential has carried the heavy burden. And it's not to say that, you know, a lot of amazing things happening in day services. Everybody's really, you know, stepping up. But, you know, it's the place where people go to get better. You know, they don't have the luxury in most cases of you know, I mean, they deal with the person 24/7. And I think she and, you know, Christina left and came back. I had to throw that in there. Because I think she felt that the opportunity was better here. We're so lucky to have her, and she was one of the first people I think that submitted a video, wasn't she? So
yes.
Well, congratulations to both of those two professionals, Tracy. It's a great way to, you know, get front and center in my head anyway. I appreciate seeing you, and of course, Christina. I expect nothing less but to hear from you. So let's move on quickly to Jeremy Pataro and Mr. Dan Lannan.
So I am in Westford right now, and I'm doing the women's group, which is one of the groups I'm doing. The men's group and women's group since pretty much COVID started, and very thankful for it. It's a lot of fun. Looked at a variety of different things all over the world, and I'm actually ending it soon, so it's you know, parting is sweet sorrow in a way, but you know, I really enjoy doing it with everybody, and everyone seems to have gotten a lot out of it, which has been really good. So that is what I'm very thankful for, and this is us right now, just on looking at videos in the little office here in Westford. So wish everybody a wonderful Thanksgiving time and fall season, and hope everybody has a great presentation. So take good care, everyone. That's what I'm thankful for. Hang in there.
I just wanted to share my little attitude of gratitude with you all. I you know, when I first heard it was time to share our attitude of gratitude, I thought, no, this might not be the year that we want to ask people to share their attitude of gratitude. I mean, so many people have had salary reductions and their hours changed or new job descriptions, and I really thought, you know, is this the right time to be doing that? But as I sat back and thought, wow, yeah, you know, I have so much to be grateful for and so much to be thankful for. And so I wanted to just send a little video along to say thank you, and tell you how much I appreciate everything everyone has done. There's been so many changes for all of us and so many different jobs and responsibilities asked of so many different people, and you have all gone above and beyond and risen to that challenge, and for that I'm so grateful, and I can't thank you enough, for myself and for the leadership team, the trust that you put in us to try to navigate through these waters that really none of us have ever been through before, as we try to, you know, deal with this crisis and continue to provide the best services we can to the men and women that we serve. So hopefully soon we'll be on to 2021 and brighter days ahead, but I did want to say thank you and enjoy your holiday. Thanks.
Ted, I don't mind embarrassing Dan Lannan because it's part of I see that as being part of my job description. I would say that some of the best. I saw that last night and I was so moved by that. I felt like it was such just an authentic, you know, deep expression of how much he has had to lean on his team and how much we've expected so much of our staff to give up and to sacrifice in ways of, you know, in all kinds of ways, and on top of it being difficult with kids at home, distance learning, all the stuff that we're all faced with, and then having the added burden of helping us try to figure out how to, you know, reduce our staffing force. I thought it was, and Jeremy's ever the optimistic, you know, he's and he had COVID and he gave it to his whole family, got it early on during the scary days. And
yeah, I mean, Jeremy, Jeremy, I know, you know, doing that video was probably hard, especially at the time he was doing it, because people may not know, but Jeremy is one of those people accepting a reassignment. Jeremy works in our clinical department, and he's going to be helping us cover a residential program in Billerica where we have a vacancy. He has experience of that in the past, but it forces giving up something. And those men's and women's group that he does mean a lot to him. Yeah. And we know they mean a lot to the people in those groups. And that's tough. And it rolled right into Dan Lannan's. Having known Dan for the past 22 years, you know, there's a lot you can say about Dan, but sincere and authentic definitely are two of the things that have to be mentioned first. And, you know, you can see it wearing on him in the video that, you know, the decisions and the changes that he was talking about, I personally know they've weighed heavy on him because he knows everyone's personal story, because he's so authentic and sincere and gets to know everybody. That's been an extra burden on him through these decisions that have had to be made. And he's always focused on the families and the people we support, but he also is focused on the staff and their personal lives. He knows the whole person, and you know, you just know how much this has been weighing on him to navigate through.
To the staff that are out there, our staff watching this today that have taken some action, made a decision that might have been the furthest thing from their mind, their career plan, what they saw themselves doing, what they wanted to be doing, but done it anyway. Understanding that this is our most creative endeavor to try to keep, as I said it already, everybody as close to us as we possibly can, allowing people to continue in as much as we're able to keep, you know, an income and be connected with NuPath. And if you're a staff person that's had to make one of those sacrifices, if you're a manager in the residential programs that is having to work more shifts of direct care, thank you to all the people that have been reassigned. You're now going to be working evenings, maybe sometimes weekends when you're used to a more of an 8 to 4 schedule. Thank you. This has been unlike any. You said it already, Ted. We've said it over and over again. It doesn't make it any less horrible. That this is something that nothing could have prepared us for, and we're just making the very best decisions we can make with what we know, with what we have, and hope that we're all around in another year to open up the windows. I'm hearing good things about the vaccine. I'm hearing more good things about it. The efficacy is high. I'm not one of these people that are going to be like, I'm not doing it in the first round. I'm going to climb over heads if I have to get my. No, I'm not going to be that. But seriously, I mean, these are reputable groups. Anyway, I'm not going to get into it, that discussion, but I want you to know how I feel about it, and I hope that once people, if it is really that effective, that we'll be able to get people back and maybe save the very worst from happening, or programs reaching a point where they can't be, reopened. We already talked about the Martin Center. I know I'm talking fast because I want to wrap this up. The Martin Center, that if we do end up doing something with that space or returning that space, it's not the end of the Martin Center. It just means we have to find another location when the time comes. We spend a lot of money there every month, but this in particular hit our staff, and I thought this was great. I feel inspired, Ted, and I think we've done some examples.
It's interesting, Dan. I think we've accomplished something here in an unintended way. You and I have talked over the years about, wouldn't it be great to bring this to a larger audience? We've talked about the Stoneham Theater or Showcase Live. And, one thing that, this circumstances pushed us to is we did bring it to a larger audience in a different way. But it's good, so many things we've missed this year, annual celebrations, the camaraderie of being together in each other's physical presence. But, this feels good and it feels right. I hope everybody benefited the way I did. I feel more inspired, and I hope people take the opportunity for the 10 people who went through this process to go through the process themselves, because I felt better. I felt better thanking Ken, and then thinking about Tracy's story. It just made me feel good, because there is good. And when you find that first one, all of a sudden the other good becomes more apparent. It becomes more obvious to you.
Well, and I think I say it maybe just a minute later in my video, when we allow others to kind of be their best, when we honor people in this way, where we hear from them, we want to hear your story, we all benefit from it. It's this collective, because it makes us all better. It makes us all appreciate more, the good things that our staff, and understanding what our people are, what our staff are doing the front lines all over this organization, doing hard work day after day, wearing their masks, following the PPE, guidance, and there's so much to be grateful for in that regard.
So, as we've got the holidays coming up. I know we're not going to be doing this format next week, but we'll be back at it the week after.
The week after, we hope people will come on and join us then.
I think you have the final word here. I think your video is the final word.
60 seconds. Count them. Roll it.
Let's do it.
Thanks, everyone. The famous French Enlightenment writer, historian, and philosopher Voltaire once said, "Appreciation is a wonderful thing. It makes what is excellent in others belong to us as well." Today, as we listen to expressions of gratitude that have been submitted to us by so many of our employees, we hope that you will take a pause in the middle of this crazy time, in the midst of this historic pandemic that has disrupted our lives and has stolen people that we loved and cared about, that we will feel a sense of renewal, a sense of inspiration, and focus on those things that we have to be grateful for, because there are many. On a personal note, I'm going to borrow from Ralph Waldo Emerson, who said, "I awoke this morning with devout thanksgiving for my friends, the old and the new." We could not do this without our friends, without our colleagues, without the people that we work beside day in after day. United, we will get through this. United, we got this. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.